Good afternoon. We're back at the WC O'Neill Arena Complex. We're going to bring you this afternoon's 2 o'clock game between Northern Ontario and British Columbia boys. My name is Murray Etherington, head coach at Brock University, and with me is Leslie Ann Walsh, who holds many hats.
Coaching,
curling, wheelchair coaching. So we're going to have a pretty good game. Two pretty good teams here, but there was a change in the lineup. So Leslie, I can mention the lineup change for the BC boys, I think. Just looking over our notes here. They've the vice for the boys, BC boys, is now skipping, and Skip is now vicing.
Okay, it looks like
pretty much how most games are started. Team without hammer comes in. And in this case, BC was throwing first. They came in a little bit deep past the tee line, so Northern Ontario put up the corner. A lot of times in the women's games, we've seen no matter where that rock ends up, the women will hit. But because it was behind the tee line, I think Northern Ont decided to put up a corner guard.
So
BC, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity now for Northern Ontario to come down and do a little hit and roll. So again, this is so important when you have your first rocks in play that they're in front of the tee line. Again, they're throwing the nice control weight at this because they want to hit and stick or get a nice hit and roll behind the center guard. Okay, they were just a little tight to the broom, and they just removed, and the guard has to go back and play because in the free guard zone, you can't remove the stone until the fourth rock.
Yeah, you can't remove your opposition's stone until the fourth rock. You can, of course, remove your own if you didn't want it there. And there's been a lot of discussion about next year going to the 5 rock free guard zone.
I think it's actually approved now. I think it's definitely going to be 5 rock rule. That came out at the World Meeting, so we're pretty sure next year everybody, all the players in every discipline will be playing 5 rock. I think that will be a little different game from juniors and club play to slam playing. So it'll be interesting to see how people are going to play the 5 rock rule.
Yeah, I think again at this age level and one down, and maybe for the club curlers, they're not maybe going to be so willing to mix it up. And as we've seen here, a lot of games start out very cleanly for the first couple of ends. So I don't think that'll change, only with the more elite curlers, because they have much smaller tolerances. Their ability to throw within a foot or two, as opposed to a larger tolerance of the younger people.
Okay, it looks like Northern Ontario are going to try to hit the one now that's in the 12-foot. Great sweeping. So they jammed at the one in the back, but there is a red in front, so they have a bit of the control zone. So the third for BC is Dawson Ballard. And it looks like he's going to try to draw around, would you say, or just throw up a guard?
Yeah, I think we have a change here. That doesn't look like Dawson. It looks to me like Mr. Mickey. Yeah, that would have been second Joshua Mickey. And what we're looking at is that the vice for this game would be Dawson Ballard. and the skip will be Heyoto Sato.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
So Northern Ontario now are going to try to peel off the front so they can have access to the house for this first end. This team has a lot of experience, so you're going to see, I think, a lot of upweight shots for this, accurate upweight shots.
Yes. Yes. We have viewed most of the young ladies, and they won't have this kind of weight. So you'll see more rocks in play and more rocks flying around.
Okay, Northern Ontario now, there's 2 pools in this U-18 championship. There's a pool and B pool, and Northern Ontario right now are 4-1, and BC are 1-3.
So I'm guessing that Northern Ontario is secured a spot in the championship pool.
Round,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Nice guard put up there by Mr. Ballard of BC.
I think this Northern Ontario team, either 3 or all of them, were here and were the winners of last year's event.
I think it's definitely 3 or 4, and I think there's one young man who aged out. But yeah, they won it last year.
And the BC boys went undefeated in their U18 championships. So they were 9-0 at their championships to get here to this event.
Well, that's good play. Yeah. Okay, sort of a half shot there. They were trying to clear the guard, I think, and they've left an off center. So now BC has a chance to really put a little more pressure on for the steal and or the force. You get this guard in a good spot.
And for other games going on today, we have on sheet A, we have Northwest Territories are playing Saskatchewan. We have Quebec are playing Newfoundland. On sheet D, we have the Newfoundland girls playing Nova Scotia girls. And then on sheet E, New Brunswick and Saskatchewan. And this is a big game because I think both those only have 1 loss. Both teams on sheet E have 1 loss each. So these are the games today for the championship pool. So there's a lot of important positioning games here today.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with the New Brunswick and the Saskatchewan girls teams. I've seen them play some games, and they're solid teams.
Yeah, they are. The BC guard didn't curl quite as much as they were hoping for. Let's see if Vice Max call for Northern Ontario can remove the both guards that they're trying to.
That red one still stays there.
Yeah, got 2, but the shooter stayed in as a guard.
We will give updates too halfway through on the 3 sheets that are going on play over at the Heather Curling Club. We'll get some updates for everybody at home. So again, they can choose to put up another guard, or if they want to get a little bit aggressive, they can go around.
They could, yeah. I think they are with the skips first. It looked like they indicated the guard. We'll see how they make out.
Okay, yeah, they are definitely going to throw up another guard.
Yep, this one plugged the hole. That was a really well placed guard, and I think Northern Ontario has decided to use it. And they're going to come around. They think they can get in behind and a little more of the button than BC. Looks like to me where they have the broom. See how fast the ice is to begin the game.
So I think Jacob's brother went to the Brier as a fifth. Did Tanner go as a fifth player
That's
for
correct.
the Jacobs team, which was a great experience. And I think Tanner's still U21 age eligible.
Yes. Well, yes, they almost upset the Brad Jacobs team in the Northern Ontario final. They had a lead, and Team Jacobs had to come back and steal in the last couple of ends to get to the Brier. Otherwise, the young Northern Ontario boys would have been going to the Brier. So I think it was a great move by Team Jacobs to take Tanner and give him the exposure. And I was talking to coach and father Jerry at the Ontario Winter Games, I believe, and he was saying how well that Team Jacobs treated Tanner and made him one of the group, and asked for his advice, and it was a very good situation. So
that was great.
Yeah.
Northern Ontario was shot here. He made a great shot to draw down.
Lovely draw.
So now there's a couple of options. You can either draw down on top and try to force to one. So you have the BC team would have their job done if they can force Northern Ontario to one in the first end.
For sure. So we'll see if the BC guys got a read on the first rock there. Northern Ontario's first shot. Looks pretty close. They're scrubbing pretty hard. Looking like they're letting it glide now.
That's a great shot by BC.
A great shot. Yeah.
I think Northern Ontario trying to just going to get a corner of the button, try to draw in.
Yeah, he's gonna try again. Sitting one and trying to get a piece of the button.
And there's no risk to this.
Nope.
This is a shot where they can't hurt themselves, so if they can get their one and if they get their deuce, it's a bonus. And it gets him to get a sense of draw weight.
A feel of draw weight, not only for the skipper, but for the two brushers. And Max is pointing out another shot that may be possible. Maybe a little chap and roll off of the yellow that's in the back four. Will that give him a better, easier chance for part of the button?
You have to be careful here, though, because you don't want to get yourself in a situation where you're going to definitely get your one. So be very careful sometimes. We look at some of the angles. Yeah,
we really have a hard time with the angle here, but they definitely do not want to hit this on the outside and move their own red rock out of shot position. So it's a good thing they're talking it out. A lot of times we talk about going with your instinct, and the first call was a draw. Let's see what happens here. It comes down to what the skipper wants to throw, what he or she's comfortable throwing.
I think they're going to try just to come in.
They are going to try. Yeah, looks like the third one out the discussion. Skip spot into it now. The only thing, like we talked about, if he was going to throw what he originally called, be going on the same path with the same brushers. Now it's a different path.
So they need to make sure that their tolerance is not too heavy.
That's correct. Yeah, they're still talking. They really have burned a lot of time on this shot. I'm sure they're very aware of
the consequences and the risks.
Yeah. But you don't want to burn a lot of time early in the first end. So I'm guessing Lessani's just going to be looking for like a back 4-weight, just a heavy draw.
Just move the yellow one back a little tiny bit for second shot, so we
Yeah.
get 2. The sweepers are sweeping hard.
Yeah, this side might. Yeah, looks like it rubbed.
It was a good try.
It was a good try. Yeah, no doubt.
So Northern Ontario got 1.
Back in the second end, Team Northern Ontario got 1 in the first end. So really, it's a victory. You know, it sounds not because Northern Ontario scored, but it's a victory for BC because they wanted to force the opponent to 1 and have hammer. Northern Ontario has put a center. Now it looks like BC is trying to play the tick. No?
Actually,
no, they're throwing a corner. Oh, okay. That makes a lot more sense. Couldn't tell by where he put the broom.
Yeah, it looks, they're trying a corner, and I think if they think it's a bit heavy, they can bring it in.
Yeah. Okay, it's really curling off to the side there. But like we found out yesterday, sometimes even something guarding the half of the 12-foot can be used for generate points.
So Northern Ontario will use the center guard they put up, and they'll come around and hopefully go top 4. Again, try to keep the control zone. Okay, for updates across the sheet, on sheet A, there's blank between Saskatchewan and Northwest Territories. Newfoundland, Quebec boys also have blank the first end, and Newfoundland girls are 2 in the first end versus Nova Scotia, and on sheet E we have New Brunswick 2 and Saskatchewan 0.
A lovely draw by lead Shane Robinson. Top of the button, top 4, just biting the button. He couldn't put it any more perfect.
Well, BC, I think, are going to try to come down on top of this now.
I think so. They don't really have a lot of chance to move it too much, so get a freeze on top of it, maybe run something in later.
They're really working on this. It may be a little light.
Yeah.
So this will give Northern Ontario another chance to come in around.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not a desirable spot if you're BC. It's right. Gives them double center guards and hard to peel both off because they look like they're right in front of each other. You would like to have them at least off center, easier to double peel.
So keeping in mind your tolerance there could have been even a little bit heavier.
It
so
could
if
have
they
been.
rubbed the guard, or even if they had a rock in play,
Yeah.
then Northern Ontario would have to deal with it.
Yeah. Yeah, if they were a little heavy and they could have even got a couple of corners out of it. But see how the end plays out. It's amazing how an end will look one way, somebody's in charge totally, and then 1 or 2 shots later, it just flips around. But right now, Northern Ontario has control of that control zone and playing really well.
I like that the BC are understanding now that the rocks are not where they need to be.
Yeah.
And so what they're going to do is peel it out. A lot of the teams get in trouble because they try to chase and they will draw as opposed to cleaning up the front of the house, and they definitely need access if you have hammer.
Well, there's a
great shot.
Great shot. It got everything off the 4-foot, and even though that Northern Ontario still has 2 in the rings, at least they're off the 4-foot. But there are some guards out front, so. But that was a really important shot at the time. It changed the end around a little bit.
And this is the thing we need to remember. They still have 5 rocks to make things happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's kind of like they knew where their bail point was on this one, and they decided that it was time to make some rocks move in the house.
And I like that. I think at the junior level, your bail point needs to be a few rocks earlier, so you need to recognize it's either your seconds first stone or your seconds. We don't have the ability of some of the great players that are at the thirds level.
Right.
So a lot of the slam teams will wait till the second stone to bail.
Yeah.
I think at this level, we really got to recognize when to bail earlier.
I think that's a great point. And we've talking this week about tolerances and how the age group tolerances are different, and people have to recognize that. And your point perfectly, the bail point for the top people can be a little later because they can do so much. But no. I have to say that Northern Ontario is placing their rocks very well right now. They've got a good command of their draw weight and their brushing ability.
They're a young team, but they're a mature team.
Very mature.
They've played. I would suggest they've probably played in a lot of spiels against adults, so they have a maturity about them.
Yeah.
And again, when you get that opportunity to play against and with Brad Jacobs, then that brings a lot to the team.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, BC, this is a good place. They open up the front.
Yeah, they spend a lot of time on the ice, a lot of practicing. As we mentioned earlier, their coach, the coach is his father, Jerry Horgan, and he spends a lot of time with the guys.
You have to commit as a coach to a lot of time. If you want your athletes to be at this level, there's a lot of time spent with them. The parents are in it today. There's lots of noise out on the arena.
Oh, yeah, we're going to hear lots. And we're going to hear that moose call a lot today.
You actually have the 2 Saskatchewan teams and the 2 Newfoundland teams playing, so you have parents from both the boys and the girls teams.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's nice that they can all cheer together for their teams.
Yeah, come out and support both the boys and girls from your province.
It looks like now Northern Ontario has 4 rocks in play, so BC I think are going to try to hit and roll.
They're going to have to do some damage control, or make sure that they have at least one side open to get to that button for their skips last. So if they can make a double here and get that side open. Well, they've opened it up. They've opened it up, and yes, Northern Ontario's sitting 3, but they're all on one side of the center line, and that's a good thing for BC.
And that's what BC needs to keep in mind. Keep a path open, and even at this point, if you can't get to shot rock, sometimes being second shot's not a bad plan.
Not a bad thing. I think that's a thing that we've seen throughout, is that a lot of these teams are mature enough to be patient. They don't get too excited like the club curlers back home, the people back home. It's okay if there's a few of the opponents' rocks in, as long as their skipper has a chance to get to the button.
I've often said to some of the teams, sometimes second shot is your best guard.
It is, yeah. Yeah.
So there might be a double here, do you think?
Yeah, could be, yep. A chance to get that one off the forefoot and be able to come in both sides. And some Nova Scotia cheers there. We weren't quite sure what the first word was. Okay, here's Mr. Ballard with his attempt at a double, run back double. Nice shot.
That was a great shot.
Even though he didn't remove it completely, you have two sides now.
Okay, I think Northern Ontario are going to try to come in and get top four again.
Yeah, the shooter on the last throw from BC ended up as a center line guard, but it's a tight one.
Kids are out here all in their short sleeves.
I know.
I'm watching them all and look. I'm cold looking at them.
I know.
They're working hard.
Once they start brushing, the jackets come off. Yeah. Not just the young men, but the young ladies too. Jackets off on some of them.
I think this one was just a little bit short.
Came up a little bit light.
So this gives BC an opportunity.
Yeah. I think that's twice on this path. So, wasn't looking in the practice, but possibly Team Horgan had the other side of the sheet for their draw for hammer. But both times on this side of the sheet,
he's been a little light.
He's been a little light. So maybe a difference of the side, or just not used to this side yet. But he's definitely been about 4 or 5 feet lighter on this side. But they're pretty experienced. They'll pick up on that really quickly. BC ignoring those two reds out in the 12-foot and getting on the aggressive side and wanting to get in there first. But you don't want to take it. You want to be buried, but you don't want to take it behind the tee line.
And I like this call because those 3 rocks, he's probably going to have to draw on his last
Yes.
shot. So this way he knows the path, he knows the weight.
Yeah.
And if they hit, even if they hit and roll, they're going to be behind the tee. So he has the option to either hit and stick or draw down to it.
Right,
So I really
right.
like this call. You need to be in there first, I think.
Yeah. No, I think it was a good call to draw first, to ignore those 3 of them actually in the 12-foot.
And that takes, again, maturity, because a lot of times you see 3 of the opposition's
Yep.
color, and your first instinct is that you really need to get rid of
Yeah.
the rocks that are in the house.
Yeah.
It looks like the Nova Scotia boys team are off today, and they're over cheering on.
Yeah, they're coming in to
girls.
cheer on the girls.
That's a great, and you see that a lot. You see the
Yeah,
other teams come
you
out
do.
in the stands cheering for their either their club mates or their province.
Yeah.
So he just set the broom down. He knows what he's going to
Yeah.
play. He's comfortable with it.
Yeah. Mr. Horgan was a little bit outside maybe and removed Shotstone, but rolled away. So it gives BC a chance to throw the same draw, same path. Thrower knows it, the skip knows it, the brushers know it. And I know that he just has to get full 8 or biting the 8, but we've said many, many times the T-line is what you're trying to accomplish here. Brushers to brush to T-line, and because you never know later on in the game when you really need it.
And the old adage is, if you can't draw, you can't skip.
Yeah, you can't draw the 4-foot. Looks like they're working on that, and I like the vice in the house there. He's got the broom down right to here, guys. A little bit warm.
No, great draw.
Good job, and that's the advantage of throwing to tee. You can be a little light or a little heavy. Okay, so they got to give the young skip for BC some credit there, drawing against 3 and coming up with the point back in 30 seconds. Okay.
So we're back here, and this is the third end. And again, it looks like BC tried to put one in the top 4-foot and just slid a little bit deep. And I would suggest they're going to throw up a corner guard.
I think so. Yeah.
So we can give a quick update now after 2. So on sheet A, Saskatchewan is scored 3. So it's 3-0 for Saskatchewan versus Northwest Territories. Sheet B, Newfoundland and Quebec are still scoreless, so they blanked the second end. And 2-0 for Newfoundland after 2. And same thing, it's New Brunswick over Saskatchewan 2. So they all blanked their second ends.
Yeah, so we have boys on sheet A, B, and C, and the young ladies are on D and E. And just as you said, Leslie, the Northern Ontario guys put up a corner guard.
I wanted to give a quick shout out. I was talking to the BC parents today, and they wanted to thank all their families and friends and grandparents for all their support through this, and they wanted to say hi to everybody back in BC.
That's excellent. You don't realize how much support is needed to get these young people here So a lot of people put in a lot of time, effort, and that's great. A lot of family members here.
And I think actually the BC boys are also the Canada Games representative.
Oh yes,
So
I
they'll
think
be
so.
representing BC at the Canada Games in Red Deer. I think it's 2019 in Red
Yes,
Deer.
yes. So this experience will really help them. Okay. So BC did decide to put up a center. Maybe they wanted it a little tighter.
So it's going to give Northern Ontario the opportunity to come around.
Yeah. Yeah, I think likely you would have liked that second BC rock in the top 12, biting 12 or something like that. But nice draw here by the Ontario lead. Right down on, it looks like it's pretty much on top of the BC stone sitting shot rock.
Once we get the angles now, we'll see if it's frozen.
So we're going to have some action here. Try to get the some draws in here and get the angles set up, some angle freezes, maybe a tap here and there. Knowing when to unlock the back stone is important.
So there is some separation so they can
Okay.
move it around a little bit.
Okay.
So Northern Ontario can either come in to draw down and tap it around and move it around a bit. Another option could be to hit and roll.
Yeah, if they could get to the inside of that yellow, I think that's what they're going to try to do, and it just kind of depends on what kind of weight they want to do. Do they want to just throw a back four weight and chip themselves in there, or they want to remove it? So there's quite a bit of ice taken here, so it's just probably a draw.
A draw just to... And even if they tap it a little tiny bit, it's not a bad, not a bad plan.
Yep.
We should also say thank you to Bell Alliant for 5 for doing the live streaming here. The cameraman has been here every single day for every draw.
Matt has been awesome.
He's learning the game.
Yeah. He knows what hammer is now. Good shot. Move the yellow into the back 8, back 12. See, and I like that maturity. And they didn't panic. They didn't throw a big weight hit, and they just moved it into the back of the rings.
I think it's the hardest thing to teach curlers is how to use the quiet weight and when to use it.
Yeah.
And that sometimes it's much better than the big weight, because you can actually keep stones around and start maneuvering your rocks.
That's right.
Sometimes it's not what you make, it's what you leave the other team. So it's
yeah, for sure. And how you use the other team's stones to your advantage. Sometimes, not all the time, that those stones are your enemy. Sometimes they're actually your friends and can help you create some offense. So to see them using them, to see them with this maturity at U-18s is really encouraging.
This is a great learning event, so I think this is the second year, and we learn something new at every event, and what really works and what we can do a little bit better. But to have this advantage and this opportunities at this young age is fabulous. Yeah,
we are so fortunate to be where we are. This St. Andrews by the Sea, the resort is just beautiful, and it's only just a walk down the hill to the arena and to the curling club, and it's just a beautiful area. We really thank them for hosting.
I said I was out today, and I looked out and I said, I don't know how anybody can wake up in a bad mood.
No, that's for sure. It's just gorgeous here.
The staff at the Algonquin are really good. I must say they're so happy to have everybody around, and are always complimenting the curling kids. They're saying how good they are, and they're so much fun and polite. So
isn't it nice to hear that? Yeah, they are.
I think we don't do that often enough. Is just say positive things about the young people today, and these kids have all been very, very very friendly and polite, and because they
Well,
love this. They love being
yeah.
here. They love curling,
Yeah, meeting new friends.
meeting new friends. And
Yeah.
these are friends for life, so they'll see each other at different events, but they'll
Oh, yeah.
always. And I find a lot of the kids that move and then go to universities will always have a go-to.
Always, because pretty much anywhere there's a university or college, there's a curling club close by. So even if they don't play on the varsity team, they can still join. And if their studies are, they need a break from studies, they can go to the local curling club. Some of them might even get jobs to assist making the ice. So there's lots of advantages to curling and going to post-secondary education.
This is great. Now it looks like that Northern Ontario is sitting 1, and then they have BC sitting 2nd and 3rd shot. So
Yeah, we're trying to figure out the angles here for you, but I'm sure you can see it on TV much better than we can.
I think BC are looking at the angles now to see if they can get some rocks out of play without really hurting themselves.
Right.
So they've made their decision.
Yeah, it looks like.
With that weight, do you think they're just playing like a soft
It
type
looks
weight
like
tap?
yeah, back ring hack, in turn. A setup shot for the next shot. They're working it pretty hard, but these guys are pretty strong too. Not so sure it's going to end up exactly where they wanted. I think it over curled and went a little bit after it made contact with the red rock, went a little bit too far. Can't tell if it's just T-line or behind.
I think Northern Ontario wants to get that yellow rock in the front out of the way because
Yeah.
that's the trouble stone. They
Yeah.
don't need to leave that there.
Well, this is a change for most of our games, Leslie Ann.
Lots of rocks in play.
Lots of rocks in play, lots of multiple options here. Our first few games were the first 2 ends, and even sometime into the 3rd end, were pretty open.
Yeah. But these are 2 teams. One team was at
Yeah.
U21s, and
Yeah.
I think that the BC team had actually lost to Tyler Tardy in the finals at the BC Junior under 21s, so they lost to the world champions.
Yes.
So they're both really good teams.
Yeah.
So you're going to see probably a lot more rocks in play.
Yep.
Because they're confident with their play and they have a lot of experience even if they're a young age.
Well, you can tell that their rock placement, their ability to throw it, give it to the sweepers and let the sweepers take it.
It's another great shot by Northern Ontario.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you want to tell if Northern Ontario made a good shot, you just listen for those moose calls and you'll know. Okay. BC Vice. Kind of throwing down the same path. Looks like a little more weight than he threw the first time. Looks like he's trying to chip in off of the red that's at just biting the 4. Starting to move now. See if he's going to got a little bit, eh?
A little bit of rubbing.
I think he got a little bit of rub to take the weight off and redirect it. Not sure if it's shot.
I think red shot. We'll just see in a second now.
Yeah. And the Northern Ontario Vice Max call. Looks like more of a hit. And again, not a lot of weight, just a nice board type weight. Trying to make help it curl a bit more. One directional sweeping, one sweeper sweeping the direction of his push, which is stronger, and made the takeout. Very nice. Very nicely done. The weight was just perfect, and the brushing helped it a bit.
Northern Ontario has a lot of red rocks in front of the control zone in the forefoot, so I think BC needs to move some more rocks to.
And isn't that the key? There are a lot above the tee line. We talked earlier about rock placement. They really, so far in this game, have had very good placement of their rocks. I haven't seen too many, if any, come too deep. They've controlled the top. Timeout for BC. They're in a bit of a pickle here, so they're going to ask their coach for some advice. We're going to take a little bit of a break. They have a 90-second timeout. We'll be back when play begins. Okay, decision's been made. Let's see what it is.
It's not a lot of weight.
No,
so.
they're playing it soft. Okay, so they tapped the red back, the one that was biting the four. Had a little bit of a roll. Honestly, I cannot tell you who shot. I'm sure at home you can see. But I know that both of these teams are taking lots of time to make up their shot. There's complicated ends. So you just wonder about what's going to happen later in the game. Got the binoculars on, but fortunately I have a camera man, a photographer standing in the way, so I can't see.
Well, it looks like right now, I think Northern Ontario are sitting possibly, definitely 3, maybe 4.
Oh.
So the decision needs to be, I guess, how they protect this. Do you just come around the guard?
And they're calling their timeout. Yeah, you would wonder if they would have went over the discussion if BC does this, we'll do this, but they're not 100% sure either, so they're calling their coach out. So we'll have another little break, and we'll be back when play resumes.
Yep.
Okay. They've talked it over with coach. Come up with a tactical shot that they want to do. They have last rock advantage here. They have the hammer, so.
I think they're either trying to protect the path of the red or even tap their red in for a little bit, because you can't really protect both sides. So I think they need to take a look and see what is the best shot.
Yeah, the shot that's the tougher one for BC to make. And it looks to me like just a guard. They're going to guard that yellow. Guard the BC yellow tap, do you think?
It looks like. They need to go to get it over.
Yeah. They were off it for a touch.
I think it's just over. Good sweeping.
Yeah.
They may have left that a little late.
It might be a little bit long. Now they're looking, BC's looking at the straight run back on their yellow center guard. We don't want to belabor a point here, but this game is only in the third end.
So I
A little
think
bit behind. Everybody else is finished 4,
so. You may see
or
them,
just about.
so you may see them in the take 1 or 2 in and just
Yeah.
hit so they can save some time. So they'll
Yeah.
probably try to keep it clean once they sit down after the 4th end and take a look at their time clocks and have
Yeah.
that conversation with their coaches.
Yeah, because their teams are allowed 30 minutes of thinking time, and for an 8-end game. So after 4 ends, you want to be a little more than 15 minutes. And right now, these two teams are in the 15 to 16 minute mark, and they've still got 5 ends to play. So going to be a little tight.
I'm not sure now. We'll have to see what Northern
Yeah.
Ontario are sitting, if they're sitting 1 or 2. And I think they're just trying to figure out how to get in to get their second
Yeah.
or third point.
They're going to draw. Are they going to? Do they think they can split?
It looks like they're sitting 2, maybe 3.
Yeah. I wonder what the discussion's about.
I guess they're trying to figure out how to get their 4.
Mm-hmm. Without knocking yellow in.
So we can do some updates across the sheet right now.
Yeah.
On sheet A, Saskatchewan is 6 and Northwest Territories 0. Quebec just scored 2 in the 4th end, so they're up 2-0 against Newfoundland. On sheet D, we have the Newfoundland girls and Nova Scotia tied at a deuce after 4. And right now it's 2-1 for New Brunswick, and they're in just starting they're starting their 5th.
Yeah, they're starting the 5th. Those young ladies are playing quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell by the difference. Just looking at their time clocks, 17 and 18 minutes, as opposed to our sheet where it's down to 13 minutes, 24 seconds for 5 ends now.
So I think looking at that, I think the New Brunswick-Saskatchewan game, there's a lot of hitting going on.
Yep.
So they're keeping it fairly clean, and the game is going at a fast pace.
Yeah. Well, that's the key. It's the pace of the game. You can have some rocks in play, but you want to play quickly. But we've had a lot of discussions on our sheet. Anyway, we're going to wait and see what the tally is here, and then we're going to go for our break. Just waiting for the officials to put it up. Oh no, they can't. Yeah. I don't think we're going to get a break because the guys are ready to throw. It should be usually a 30-second break here, but I think they recognize that they better get going. Time's clicking down.
So Northern Ontario scored their 3 there.
Oh, okay. So they're up 4-1, and that means that BC will have a hammer in the 4th end.
I would suggest that Northern Ontario would definitely come in top 4 now, up by 3.
Yeah.
Because you really now do not need to have guards in play if you're up by 3.
That's for sure. And what they have to do is play a little less complicated ends because they've taken a lot of time to make some of the decisions, a lot of discussion, and eating up a lot of their clock. I like the thinking time. I think it's a great way to do the timing. But if you're always discussing every shot of an end, it's going to eat your time.
These kids are familiar with the time clock, so they
Yeah,
know.
they are.
Know. And
Yeah.
I think they'll know how to manage their time. You will, like you said, you'll see them a couple ends just hitting out.
Yeah. Okay, and as expected, BC puts up the corner. Going to try and set up their deuce. It'd be a good 2 for them if they are happen to get it, heading into the fourth end break.
And I think with the thinking time too, a lot of the players, their pre-shot routines sometimes take a lot of time. So I think as a coach, you need to. Sometimes what I do is I time their pre-shot routine,
Yep.
and then we'll talk about it after. And
Yep.
so until the game, so if you're taking 30 to 35 seconds for your pre-shot,
Let's see.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily getting in the rush. It's in practices and in games,
Yep.
getting them a little bit more comfortable with a little tiny bit smaller time on their
Yep.
pre-shots.
Yep.
There's some players that would take 30 to 35 seconds. Other players, you've got to be ready to go because they're in the hack. And
they're in the hack ready.
Yeah.
As soon as the broom gets put down there, the rock's clean. They're set and they're ready to go.
And I keep telling the front end that we need to be that little bit faster because the skip and the back end need that little bit of extra time for thinking time on shots. So
exactly,
if the front end can have a bit of a shorter process or a pre-shot routine, it always helps.
Yep. Well, BC called this one to come around, come up a little bit light. It's going to be a double corner. They just have to be careful of where they leave it so that it's not a double peel. But looks like Northern Ontario is just going to go for the single peel.
And I think that's a great move because you have to be very mindful that if you go for the double peel, you may run the yellow back into both the reds, and then they have one in play. So I like this call.
No. Yep, and this isn't bad either to just roll the shooter over to a center guard position. You've got 2 in the top of the rings.
I'd like to give a shout out to the Remax Curling Club in St. John's, Newfoundland. Okay. They are very supportive. Both the teams curl out of that club from our junior program, and they're very, very supportive of the teams. And it's great that all these kids, all 8 of them, actually volunteer or work at our junior program on our Saturday mornings, so they learn the curl programs. All 8 kids spend a lot of time at the club, but they also give back volunteering, which is great.
It is. It's terrific.
Our Little Rocks on Saturday morning, all 8 of those kids are on the ice at 9 o'clock Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And they never complain. They're there bright and early, and then they'll stay and they'll practice after.
Yeah. Well, they remember how many hours other people spend helping them get there. And okay, so the Northern Ontario peeled out their own, opened things up a bit. I mean, their ideal would be to force one, but they won't get too upset if BC takes 2 because they'll still have the lead. And Hammer going into the 5th. They just don't want to give up a 3 or more.
So BC, you're going to try to come around the corner. Nice sweeping from BC, guys. Nice.
That patience we talked about, even though red shot rock, even though the opponent shot, they ignored it, came around, they want to set up for their 2. See, a lot of people would panic and hit that. And again, it goes back to philosophies.
going to try to get rid of the yellow.
Yeah, they're going to play a hit and roll. Hit and roll, and if they had gotten lucky, they would have got the double. It is a good try. But the patience has paid off. Now BC can go ahead and hit. They can hit and roll and split the rings, slide 2.
Again, this is about control rate. Make sure that you want to hit and stay in the
And
house.
stay in the...
Generate your 2 points.
That's correct. You got to keep the shooter in the rings. Okay, that's fine.
I think the double may be there.
The double may be there. Yeah, ideally to roll a little bit the other way would have been the perfect shot, but the key is that they stayed in the rings. The double is not easy. It's definitely makeable, but no, it's it. Roll in behind. They didn't quite get it over, but it could be buried. It's definitely shot, so BC has to do something with it. They have to make a play on it somehow.
So the skipper's talking about a couple of options where they run the yellow in, but I think they're going to try to draw on top of this. I like this call.
Yep.
They have to try to generate their 2 points.
Yep. Yeah, they're only into Vice's rock, so there's no reason why you can't come down, draw to it, make a setup shot for later. Got to make sure it's by the guard. They were really sweeping hard, just rubbed, and I'm not sure they can get it in. Little bit of an unforced error, whether it was just light all the way or curled more than they expected and took some speed off.
Northern Ontario are going to take advantage of that now and drawing around, and they're in a good position to either steal or force.
That's it.
So it looks like there's a good curl on the ice. They're taking the edge of the 12, so that means there's a really nice curl.
Really nice. Yeah, good 5.5, almost 6 feet from the outside in.
It's very important on this ice to have really good rotation.
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear people talk about soft handles, and that's where you lose rotation, or it comes up.
Jacob comes up a little bit light. Had a chance to sit 2 and really put the pressure on, but now he might have even nudged that yellow in. So BC could have a hit here and stick and lie 3. And we were just saying about that half an end ago, how Northern Ontario was in charge. They had red rocks in. BC remained patient, and now 1 or 2 shots can just turn this whole end around. Well, first signal is the hold, and now he's calling. Now the Vice is calling for sweeping. Okay, they're letting it glide now. Must be by.
Great shot by BC.
Very nice. And see that weight, you know, that was no more than board. That might have even been just a heavy hack. To not only remove the shot stone, but the brushers could work with it and get a little roll out of it.
Now they're looking at a couple of options.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty flat for a double.
You can try the draw, but this is definitely a risk
Yeah.
versus
Oh,
reward.
yeah.
I think you need to hit
Yeah.
something here.
Yeah, you do. You just scored 3. You certainly don't want to give 3 back. You're okay giving 2 back.
Yeah.
You want to do anything you can do to not give 3.
They're looking at the thin double.
Yeah, I think that's what he is looking at. Or even if he could roll on top. You know, if you could hit this and roll on top of the shot yellow in the 12-foot, it might
Yeah, that'd be a great.
cut him down. Yeah.
That'd cut him down.
Yeah.
And again, I agree with you. Giving up a deuce is not bad here.
No.
I think there'll be some weight coming at this one.
I think this one's going to be lots. Yeah, he's firing out of there. They need a lot of action here, especially if they want to make a double. No. No. Just curled too much, got too much of the shot rock or the rock they were trying to hit, and rolled over top. So now it's a draw for 3.
With these teams' experience, so giving up a 3, they know that they're
Yeah.
tied and they have 4 more ends.
Yep, that's what they'll look at it and say, you know, if we said after 4 ends we were tied, we'll take it. It doesn't matter how. It's just that we're tied and we have to win the second half. And I think that's both coaches will be saying that. It's okay. It's a new game. Just win the second half. And we're conceding here that the BC skip is going to be successful, which he should be. Got good brushing. Give it to the brushers. Show him T-line. You're backing off now. I'm not so sure I like that. Oh, it's light. It didn't make it. It looked like they were going to get it there.
So this is where you need to be very mindful that you have the full house. I think sometimes
Yep.
we just try to get it to
Yeah.
be too precise. Anywhere in the house, but in front 12, back 12, it really doesn't matter. So
Yeah, no, but I honestly think that the focus they lose focus when they just have to throw it. You know, it's kind of like the archer. He or she wants to hit the very middle of the bullseye, and if they miss by a little bit, they're still going to be in. Yeah, so I think what happens here is you lose focus. But anyway, we're going to take a break. They're going to have the 4th end 5-minute break, so we'll be back in a little bit.
Okay, so we're back now and starting the fifth end. We have some rocks in play. So Northern Ontario now has hammer, and it looks like they're going to try to hit the one in the house, maybe?
Yeah. They have hammer, and BC's got a few in, so playing a bit of a soft weight hit or on shot rock. Yep. Good.
That's a great shot by Northern Ontario.
Very nice.
Problem with this is with a close game and the clocks are close, you can't afford. You want some rocks in play, so it's going to be interesting in the later ends.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about making their mind up quicker. It's kind of what we talked about. We discussed a bit yesterday, where in other years the skip made the decision really quick, and there was no discussion. But today's teams have a little more of a democracy into what when we get into the little complicated ends, and sometimes overthink it. Go back to the first end, I think it was, where the Northern Ontario skip had his shot in mind and came all the way down this end and looked at it, and then the vice called him down. And so they burnt quite a bit of time, just whereas if they would have just went with their first gut reaction, there wouldn't have been a lot of time burnt. And again, and we're not criticizing, we're just bringing it to the forefront.
So for updates now, let's go across the board. Saskatchewan, Northwest Territories is 6, and Northwest Territories got a point, so it's 6-1. And then in the fifth end, Newfoundland got 3, so Newfoundland are up 3-2 against Quebec. The Newfoundland versus Nova Scotia game, it's 3-2 for Newfoundland. And on sheet E, it is still 2-1 for New Brunswick and Saskatchewan. They're having a really close game over there with the girls. So all the games are really nice and close.
We did get. Did we do some updates from the Heather Curling Club?
So
we only have 2 games going there.
Yeah, and I think this is after the fourth end.
Yeah.
The women's game, Ontario is 1 and PEI is 4. And I think in the men's,
It's Manitoba.
it's 5 and Alberta is 1.
Yeah, we're
So-
not.
I think that's the scores over there. We'll get an update later over there. They're going to bring us an update after 6 for people who need to know. And you can also go on the live scoring
Yep.
on Curl Canada site, and they have the live scoring updates.
Not sure if the BC attempt was a freeze or a hit and just a little soft. I think the Northern Ontario Stone stayed in the back 12. We're into Vice's Rocks here.
I think that they're going to want to hit this, take
They're
this
gonna-
one out.
Yeah, they're going to want to hit in the outside of it and roll outside of the rock and roll to the outside of the rings.
That was a great
Excellent.
shot.
Excellent.
Great shot.
Yep.
Again, we'd like to give a shout out to the volunteers here at St. Andrews. They have been absolutely amazing, and a lot of them, I've seen them, are here like every day.
Oh, they are. They're putting a lot of time in, but they couldn't be more nice and asking if we need anything, and
And always
really,
with a smile.
really treating us well.
Great shout out to the volunteers here. So I think BC are going to try to draw down, do you think, to the Red Rocks?
It looks like they're playing. They think the best way to limit damage is to be either shot or second shot. They're not removing anything. I think they're just trying to play a freeze, corner freeze.
He may be a little heavy on this
A little bit
rock.
warm. It's gone by, but it's going to settle in the back 12. But for a third shot, probably.
The sweeping ability of all these young players here is also amazing. They're all with
Mm-hmm.
their,
Very,
yeah,
very technically strong.
their legs are up behind them and their heads are over the brooms.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's hard to teach at a young age to trust them that they're not going to fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when we teach, I know when I teach brushing, Leslie Ann, I always have a younger person demonstrating because
Me
I,
too.
I sure can't do what they can do.
I have the luxury. I usually get if Brett or Jeff are around,
There
I'll
you
grab them out and say, "Would you like to come out and
Yeah.
demonstrate for me?"
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'll get one of the Brock curlers and say, here, this is how you should do it. I know what to look for mechanically, but don't ask me to get in that position.
So, Marty, we want to talk a little bit about that. There's going to be some mixed doubles happening here this weekend.
Yes, yeah, we can talk about that for sure. After tonight's round robin, there's going to be the playoff
The championship
pool set, and for those who don't quite make it into the championship pool, everybody's going to be put together, and teams of mixed doubles will be made up of people from across the country. So you might have a young fellow from one province playing with a young lady from another province, and I think that's going to be a lot of fun for them. So that even though they're not in the championship round, they're going to have something to play for.
And the coaches get to play or get to coach
and the
different
coaches
players,
get to coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times it won't be their own players. So that again, it really goes back to Curling Canada and the people then in charge there, and how they look at this and how they can develop more young curlers. And we saw the way people love mixed doubles in the Olympics, and it's a fast-paced game. It doesn't take as long to play. You don't need as many people. So there's so many upsides to mixed doubles, and I think you're going to see more all across Canada next year. And so I mean, a shout out to Curling Canada and the people there in development for saying let's make some mixed doubles teams up and let these young people experience that.
It is an Olympic sport right now, so it's definitely a thing we need to make sure, because there's a lot of teams in Europe that's their only sport. So the European teams are really strong in the mixed doubles because that's their main sport right now, as opposed to teams of four. So it's good that we're starting this and getting everybody interested at a young age. That
it is.
Mixed doubles is definitely a chance to go to an Olympics.
And I'm going to say that there might be a coach or two, and I know if I was in that mix, that really haven't had a chance to watch too much of the mixed doubles. So it's going to be a great experience for some of the coaches who haven't had a chance to coach mixed doubles.
So I think Northern Ontario now are sitting 3 right now, and it's BC's last stone for skips. So I think he's going to try to.
He's got to play some
hit and roll.
Some kind of a hit and roll in. Yep. No brushing. They're wondering if it's a little outside, or maybe it's curling and waiting for it to curl up a bit. Yeah, just a little bit outside, and rolled away. And they needed to be inside. Hit that rock on the inside and roll to the middle. So.
See now he's having a draw, and I'm not sure if it's for 3 or 4.
Yeah, young Jacob's coming down here pretty quickly.
this is going to be a draw for 4. Or maybe a hit. I think he might even be hitting for 5.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not a draw weight, that's for sure.
No, this is not a bad shot. If he gets a hit, it's good for hit for 5.
Okay. Well, that's a big 5. Or 4, at least 4, right? At
least 4, maybe 5. It's really It's hard sometimes with the angles up here.
Yep. And they'll be ready to throw right away. Try to get
save some time on the clock.
Save some time, so they're allowed to throw under the 30-second.
So it was 5. They again will come into the house.
Yeah. And the tolerance there is heavy. You don't want to leave a guard.
And sometimes the team will actually sweep that through. They left that there. So some teams would tend to actually sweep it if it's heavy. They'll confirm with their skip and
sweep it right through. Yeah. Totally agree. You'd hate to have that in the rings and try to remove one of the yellow stones, and it comes back to jam and haunt you.
So we're going to try to put this again, top 4. Another option would be you could actually even peel your own rock out in the back of the house.
Yes, you could. Yep.
Not a lot of teams would think to do that, but again, that may be a trouble rock in the end.
Yeah, if you're a really defensive team, if you're defense-minded all the way, then that wouldn't be out of character to peel it out. A lot of the teams now are pretty balanced. They can play offense or defense. And as we've said many times before, it goes back to your off-ice meetings on the warm side of the glass to discuss how you want to play, what your strengths are. You know.
We know it's a standard for our teams and the teams that I coach. If we're up by more than 3 points and the lead comes up short, they automatically have to peel their own rock out.
Yeah.
We always torment them and say, "You put it there, you need to take it out."
You have to peel.
We call it the peel of shame.
Yeah.
I've had to do that a few times.
Yeah, it happens. We're all...
nobody misses on purpose.
No.
And that's what we need to keep in mind, especially coaching younger teams.
We do. I like that. Yeah. They're trying their hardest, and...
No one sits in the hack.
No.
And misses a shot on purpose.
Not at all.
So again, now we'll go across the sheets for updates. On sheet A, Saskatchewan Northwest Territories 6-1, so they blanked the 5th end. Newfoundland just stole 2 against Quebec, so it's 5-2 for Newfoundland, and they're playing 7 right now. In sheet D, it is 4-3 for Nova Scotia, and they're still playing in the 6th end. And then what we have, Saskatchewan, New Brunswick, I think it was a steal, so I think it is now 2-2, tied. Saskatchewan playing New Brunswick, and they are also playing 7th end.
And right now we're just BC is throwing corner, and Northern Ontario is trying to rip them out. Pretty basic right now, and it's good for both teams. Playing uncomplicated end. BC still has a chance to get a 2 and is hoping for a multiple score. Northern Ontario's getting ready. They're in the hack before the broom gets down, and the broom's getting put down pretty quickly. Nice double peel there. Does leave a bit of a corner, but it's their own rock. It's not the opposition's rock. So now, decision has to be made. At what point do you start coming in and using the Northern Ontario rock that's just behind the tee line?
I think they need probably one more corner, do you think?
Possibly, yep.
So for an update now over on sheet H over at the curling club, Manitoba is leading 6-1 after 6 for the men's teams, and I will now give you an update for the ladies.
Looks like a freeze.
Going to be a freeze?
Yep. Nice throw.
Okay, and over on sheet G, over at the curling club, PEI is leading 5-3 against Ontario girls after 6. And on Northern Ontario are just going to now peel everything, try to keep the front.
Mm-hmm.
And again, giving up of one here and forcing one is not a bad.
Not at all. They'd be quite happy with a 6-point lead to force the other team to 1.
So I think now, are they going to throw up a corner? Or
Well,
are they just coming down on top?
I think they're still throwing a guard. Try to guard that situation, their shot rock. Or would they throw an actual corner? Because at any time they can hit their own yellow to remove that red.
And then roll behind.
And then roll behind. So, yeah. Let's see what they ask for. No, they're calling top 12. Sort of a dual purpose. Top 12 in the rings, but also guarding shot rock. This one's a little bit deep. Looks like a bit of an angle. I think Northern Ontario, too, recognizes their own rock is hurting them a bit, so I think you're going to see a high, hard one here and try and move all those rocks.
No rocks in the house is a good plan for Northern Ontario. You don't need any rocks in play now when you're up by
no
points.
Okay, got rid of the top one.
See, looks like they're going to try to come down and
Yeah,
on top of the yellow.
You do that now. When you put another one in the top 12.
This is Skip's first stone.
Mm-hmm.
So he really needs to be careful not to be too heavy to move a bunch of rocks around.
That's
really,
right.
You
Right
don't
now,
want any separation.
Right now, that red rock is their friend. They don't want to move it and give Northern Ontario a chance to double them out. It's like a pretty good freeze. Got to be nose on nose.
That's a great shot there.
Yeah. BC still won. Looks like Northern Ontario's probably second.
So he's going to.
But Northern Ontario is going to throw another heater and see if he can move the yellow. Now the drag effect's on here, isn't it?
I think so.
Whichever way you hit it, the top rock, it's going to drag the middle rock with it.
And again, giving up a deuce here is
not the end of the world. No. Yeah.
It's a great shot.
That's a good shot. Well done.
BC has her draw for 2.
Yep. Taking no time. And you're hoping it's like the relief pitcher who forgets about the last outing, just put it on the button.
Yep.
T-line weight.
Looks like great weight here. They've got their deuce.
This is. Okay, good 2. They gave themselves a chance there. They had a good setup for 2, and if they would have got a half miss out of Northern Ontario, they might have got an extra one, but still got a couple ends to go. So after 6, it's 9-5. We'll be back in a minute. Well, now BC's going to be all out offense, aren't they? Yeah.
They need to steal.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to see two guards come up. So you may see Northern Ontario either throw through or may even go out to the wings.
Yeah. Looks like a throw through. Yeah, so we'll see BC with 2 centers, a couple of throw throughs. And then it'll be lots of peels and
some of the team's options are that they actually put the first one in and throw the second one through.
That's correct. Yeah.
So I think the game is over on sheet A, so it's 7-1 for Saskatchewan against Northwest Territories, and it's a great learning experience for Northwest Territories to come into this game, and so they get to play younger teams, because I don't think there's a lot of young teams in the territories or in the place where they curl. So this is a great opportunity to get out and learn the game and get some experience.
You look and you see what the other teams do. You listen to how they communicate. You watch their deliveries, and that's how you get better.
Yeah. And it's always lessons learned. When I go away to an event for younger teams, I always go, what can we learn? What can we take to make us better?
Yeah.
And the Saskatchewan, the boys' teams are talking to them and trying to give them a little advice.
Yeah.
They're lovely, those teams from Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
I've met both of the teams, and they're lovely teams.
Yeah, wonderful people. And gone through a lot of tragedy lately.
Yes. So it looks like that they threw one second one through?
Yeah, the both lead rocks were through. And BC's second one slipped into the rings. Now, don't they have an option of trying to come around it, or of putting another center guard up? No hesitation. Broom down quickly.
Peel the front.
Throw her in the hack ready. This is the second specialty. Usually a second is a good peel. Person for peeling. And young Nicholas Bisnet didn't disappoint. He made a nice throw. Nice, smooth. Trusted it. Let it go. BC will be putting back guards.
At this point now, they have to steal 2 ends.
Yeah.
I like, though, that they're still positive. The body language is great, and they're committed to trying to get a deuce, steal a deuce.
Yeah. Anything can happen. We've seen it everywhere. In the younger ranks, and even on TV, we've seen it happen. A draw come up short. Something miss.
That was a great shot by
Nice run back.
Nice run back.
Leaves a guard, though. But it definitely removed a couple of yellows. We're in Devices Rocks.
So they've made up a little bit of time.
Oh, they have. Isn't it
yeah.
pretty amazing? It's basically 3.5 minutes per end, I think it works out to. So.
And both teams have 1 timeout left, so
yeah,
they'll have that.
Yeah. They'll have that left to stop the clock if they need to. Need a little tap on this one. Get to nose. Not going to discuss it. We're just going to peel that guard. We have a little bit of technical difficulties. Sorry, try and talk now. It's my second game of the day. Technical difficulties every once in a while in this little corner room. But we're back.
So there's a game over now on Sheet B. So Newfoundland beat Quebec 6-2. That game is a final. Newfoundland boys are playing really well. I think they're 4-1 right now.
Are they? Yeah.
So they're in the championship pool, I think.
Yeah.
They've worked really hard. They're from, like I said, they're from my club, and they throw a lot of rocks. They work really hard at the game.
Mm-hmm. So now there's no center guards left for BC to hide behind. They did try to come in the rings. It's going to be hard to steal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still really close games going on sheet D and E. So the girls are going. That should be a.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
been a good game. We haven't been able to watch much of it, but two good teams.
It's funny that the Newfoundland girls went to U21s and they were one game off championship pool, and you get here and it's a game of inches.
Oh,
It's literally a game of inches.
it is.
The scoreboard shows that you haven't won a game, and you're literally it's either last rock or
Yeah.
last shot. So it's interesting that you can come here and
Yeah.
and play really, really well.
Yep.
And just be a few inches. And I said you're always on the wrong side of the inch sometimes when you have games like that.
Exactly.
So sometimes when you see the scoreboards and the line scores out there, you're thinking the games
Yeah, it doesn't really
doesn't reflect the play.
Right. Yeah, BC's in a little bit of
Trouble here.
trouble. They've got no really where to. They can try and hide behind the or freeze too, and then
Yeah, I think they're trying to draw behind the red.
yeah,
So then it gives Northern Ontario either draw
yeah,
or hit
or a
butts.
run back. Yeah,
I think it was just a little bit light, so now they have an open hit for a deuce.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if they get the deuce here, it will be
It'll be handshakes.
handshake time.
So again, and even I don't think they'll be too disappointed if they have a hit and roll out and
Nope.
they get one, or even if they blank them 4.
Yeah.
I think this situation, getting 1 or 2 would be,
Yeah.
because sometimes you try to have blank to have hammer in the last end, but
Yeah.
not when you're up by a bunch of points. It's sometimes good to take that 1 or 2.
Yeah. No. No. I'm pretty sure they'll get his deuce, and that'll be it.
Yeah. And it is handshakes.
And it is handshake time. So it's a 2 more for Northern Ontario, and win this one 11-5.
And I think they are undefeated in their pool.
I think they are. I haven't looked at the standings, but they're a pretty strong team, defending champs. So anyway, thank you for listening in. There will be another game tonight at 6 p.m., but I think Leslie and I have the night off. So
Thanks everybody for listening.
thanks a lot for listening. Bye now.